Hello and welcome. I'm going to give it some time to have some people join us. Want to remind people if you're watching on X, formerly known as Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube, I'd like to encourage you to head on over to the YouTube channel, engage, give us a thumbs up. Also, if you have not yet, I'd encourage you to subscribe. It's totally free. These Tuesday discussions have led to an incredible amount of emails, direct messages. I want to make sure that I say thank you to all of you that take the time to email, all of you that take the time to send messages. I truly appreciate that. I appreciate your time. Subscribing is absolutely free. This is not anything that is, I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm not here to tell you how to do anything. I am simply doing these live discussions to take the time to answer and engage with those of you that have taken the time. And I feel out of common courtesy and respect that you as parents deserve to hear. If you're asking my opinion, I'm certainly going to share that with you. That's the purpose, the intent of our Tuesday discussions. Again, as always, if you're new here tonight, watching for the first time, I encourage you to visit prolineballs.com. Tremendous training tool. We heard from Carlos Carrasco. We've heard, from various hitting instructors. The ProLine ball, the most durable training ball, whether you're hitting, catching, infield, outfield. It's a long-lasting, very durable ball that allows athletes to train at high volume, high velocity without injury. Training with hard baseballs, can't control the spin. One of the things that really makes ProLine very unique is the consistency with regard to ball flight and as well as movement and spin, which is very, very similar to that of a baseball. I want to say welcome to everyone that takes the time to join me here live. Today's question that I'm looking for you to answer is I would like for you to share your very first major league ball game. Mine happened to be in 1977. I still have the ticket. It was the Boston Red Sox, George Brett and the Kansas City Royals. And I got to see my two heroes, which is Carlton Fisk and George Brett. I still remember walking into Fenway as a young 14-year-old boy, seeing how green the grass and the green monster, being able to see Collier Skremski and Rico Petrocelli, among many, many others. So please share with me your very, very first Major League Baseball game. What year and what teams did you go see? I encourage you to stay through the end of the video because I find myself getting asked a lot of questions towards the latter half of my discussions. And sometimes when I click off, I go back through the questions and I see that I wasn't able to get to everyone's questions. So I apologize in advance, but I do encourage you to take the time to stay to the end. Adam, hello. Okay, Mr. Lowry, high school coach, parents to get my players to listen to you. I appreciate that, Coach Lowry. I genuinely appreciate that, and it's very applicable tonight. 1987. Oh, Adam, you're a good man. That might have been first game at Fenway, 1987. That was right after the 1986 season to the Mets. Tonight, we're going to talk about parents. I'm coming right at you tonight. And I really want to talk about two words that I think sum up not only the questions that I am receiving, But a lot of the feedback that I am receiving from people within the industry, um, and I think we're at a pivotal moment within the sport of baseball. I think we're at a pivotal moment with regard to uh, what direction we're going to be going. Because as many of you know, the two words that I'm going to be discussing here this evening is transactional versus transitional. So when I first think of the word transitional, everything that we do in our life, stemming from childhood and into adulthood, is about transitions. They are accepted. They are as old as time. A baby is born. They learn how to roll over. They learn how to sit up. They learn how to crawl, stand, walk, run, jog. When I say run, move their feet fast, jog, and then ultimately sprint. Any other aspect of life, whether it's math, English, we learn how to spell, before we're writing paragraphs or novels or thesis papers. There is a certain level of transition that must take place in order for all of us to learn and become not only capable but better, or if not challenge ourselves to be the best in a particular field, whether that be physically, academically, etc. Or we can be transactional. And the point of my discussion this evening is going to be parents. We are becoming way too transactional early in our children's lives. And to some degree, I'm speaking beyond athletics and beyond baseball, but for the most part, I'm going to start with baseball. I am not going to, again, wax poetically about, the joys of growing up in a sandlot or a neighborhood and playing wiffle ball and so forth, but I am going to tell you that suddenly it's become a part of the passage of youth sports to hire an instructor at 6, 7 years old, to pay for travel with regard to being more competitive. And all of this has led to this really warped sense uh, with regard to youth baseball, where we are on the fringe of anarchy. And I get parents, I am continuously blown away at the emotional depth at which parents are involved with young athletes. Young, and I'm just going to go in the 6 to 12, and then I'll move my way up. We are such, we are all in this comparative mode where if I look to my left and my right, and my little Jimmy is not as good as Mike and James, somebody's to blame. Um, we are no longer allowing the natural transitional periods in life. The word that is overused is development. You see the meme that's going around in the long line for the travel ball families, and then over to the right, there's nobody at the development or strength development models. And I have talked to so many people within the industry, and I can tell you that if we look at the pinnacle in Major League Baseball, and then we work our way down, if we really take a hard look at Major League Baseball, the vast majority of elite stars are held accountable. In today's world, and I'm not talking about the 77 Red Sox and Royals, I'm talking about today's baseball. Players are DFA'd, cut, released in an instant because they can get somebody to replace an athlete at lesser dollar, and they are looking for athletes that can execute, compete at a certain level, and if they don't, they're released or cut, sent down, etc. None of that exists at the youth level and through high school, but we have seen it make its way to college baseball. And college baseball and Major League Baseball are making it abundantly clear you must have skill. Now, I'm not going to go down the other roads and all the other S words that I use. I'm going to talk about skill. And I want parents to really begin to understand this recruiting process is not for the faint of heart. It is not for the weak-minded. I deal with parents on a regular basis, and the vast majority, I give my time genuinely. I get a lot of parents that I answer a lot of questions, and I'm grateful for that. But the question, almost like last week, are you really looking for the truth? Are you really looking for help? Or do you just want somebody to lie to you or to continue to push this false narrative? Because I'm telling you right now, if you're a high school student athlete, and for whatever reason, I really don't care what the reason is, but you're a sophomore or a junior, and you're not playing varsity baseball on a starting level, the last thing on your mind should be college recruiting. College baseball is for those student athletes that are taking the time, the necessary steps. They have a routine, they have time management skills, they're accountable, and they're aggressively working. And those, I don't care how good your high school team is, they're not as good as a college team. You can tell me the worst college team, and I coached one of them in 2001. I took over a Division III college program that had never won a game and had 5 returning student athletes. But within my first year, I know I could beat a lot of the best high schools in the area. College baseball and high school baseball, there's a huge separation, huge. And it's time that we begin to hold families accountable. Stop with the transactional. Stop. You can't pay your way to play college athletics. You can't pay your way into professional baseball. It's impossible to play college baseball or professional baseball without skill, elite skill. We need to give athletes those transitional time periods where physical maturation, mental maturation, mental toughness. Are we teaching mental toughness? If a high school coach sits your student athlete down, that's between the high school coach and the student athlete. It's time to begin to understand the coach, good, bad, or indifferent, has been hired to coach a team. In college, they have a responsibility to the athletic department, to the athletic director, to win as a program. It's not personal, it's professional courtesy. And this whole idea of trying to make this a transactional experience for young student athletes is beginning to have a very, very negative impact. If we look at the transfer portal, there are lots of athletes. And when I say lots, possibly as much as 50% of the entrants into the transfer portal are not going to find new homes. Whose fault is that? What are the expectations? We have fallen for the, hey, can you do me a solid? This family paid me X amount of dollars. Can you do me a solid and get them on your roster? And whatever happens after that, hey, I did my part. And now we're seeing that Major League Baseball, college baseball, all levels of college, they have to evaluate talent. They have to get it right. They have really honed in on their network, and they're really making a concerted effort with the roster caps to make sure that the student athletes that are on their rosters are going to be able to help a program win games at the plate, on the mound, behind the plate, in the field, on the base paths. And so at some point, we have to get back. A lot of parents are frustrated. A lot of athletes are frustrated. We see a lot of coaches making changes. The entire industry as a whole, from college, every level of college, JUCO, Division 3, 2, 1. I had a parent tell me they had no interest in an NCAA Division 3 program. Completely understand. But when I ask a student athlete, what is your plan? Like beyond baseball, what is your plan? What does college look like to you? And you get well, where is the college located? Okay. So if you don't know where the bus or the train or the plane is going, how can these college coaches know where you're looking to go? And again, reiterating numbers, they matter. Division 1 baseball, let's just call it 35, 34 DSA, 35 times, let's just call it 300. We are talking about less than 11,000. And of that 11,000, half, more than half, but we'll call it half, are going to be pitchers. So that's 5,500. And of that 5,500 positional players, in any given year, maybe 1,500 to 2,000. So high school athletes need to begin to understand access to Division I athletics in today's world is probably not, unless you're a pitcher, elite level pitcher, elite level left-handed hitting position player, elite shortstop, probably not going to happen. JUCO graduates, portal athletes. Great article. And I talked with a lot of scouts, major league scouts. And they're frustrated because they're not seeing a lot of college athletes in the summer leagues. And I know why. And I've been saying this for 2 or 3 years. A lot of college coaches don't want to send their dudes out to summer baseball because they don't want them to become portal. They don't want them chased. They don't want them recruited. So they keep them on campus. Pitchers, position players. The guys that traditionally go out and play summer baseball are either draft eligible or they're players that didn't get enough innings early, and coaches want them to go and get some innings of experience. But the seasoned athletes, they're not going out as much. So therefore, the scouts are frustrated. College coaches are keeping their best players close to the vest, and rightfully so. And so now, and I saw Rob Bruno from NorCal, and also Ryan from Next Level. These are 2 high-level travel organizations, and they've been doing it for decades. And they brought up great points, and I'm certainly not going to take credit for it, but I am going to bring it to your attention. Transitional or transactional? Parents, you get an email and it says, congratulations, you're 14U, you're 13U, you're 15, 16U. They have been selected as an all-state participant. They have been selected as an all-regional. They're a preseason All-American. They're a Instaflex All-American, and you're paying to go to these events, and you're paying to go to these tournaments because you want that name associated with your student athlete. It's transactional. You pay, they play. They get a title. You feel better. You pay for a subscription, your student athlete gets ranked. Your student athlete gets a little ink. The number one discussion point is that we're trying to rush young children through youth, through childhood. Nobody needs to travel 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. I don't care how competitive 6U through 8U or 10U baseball is. Ridiculous. 10U through 15U. There's physical growth. There's mental growth. There's maturity, strength, all kinds of habits that are developed between the ages of 10 and 15. We don't need to pay for them. Do you know how many people have become very, very wealthy because they have convinced families, parents, that the transactions that take place between the ages of 6 through 15 somehow are going to make sure or ensure that your student athlete is going to go on to great success as a high school varsity player and a college student athlete. When in reality, the vast majority of young baseball players don't even play in high school. They'll never get to college. And I have parent after parent after parent that wants to condemn the high school coach, the high school program. At some point, we have to go back to the Ted Williams quote. It is not the arrow, it is the Indian. We can buy all the greatest equipment. We can buy all the greatest instruction. We can buy our way onto the big travel teams. And we can think in our heart of hearts, that guy's my buddy. No, you're just an ATM card. You're just a debit card that guy gets to run through his machines over and over and over again so that you can pay his mortgage or make his car payment or his summer house, or they can go on a great vacation. Baseball is about a mindset. Baseball is about a discipline. Baseball is about understanding the we over and above the me, because no matter how good me is, if you don't have the other 8 guys around you rowing in the same direction, it's a lonely, lonely, lonely world. I promise you. And so transaction or transition. I preach the transition. I do it week after week. I've written books about it. I have courses. I do all that stuff. And I constantly hear about college baseball falling apart. Coaches don't care about kids. Coaches lie to kids. Coaches do this. Coaches do that. No, coaches basically live in a world of reality. Coaches really are in this because they have a true gut. They have it in their soul. They love baseball. A high school baseball coach makes pennies, pennies. High school baseball coaches, for the most part, I know there are exceptions, but high school baseball coaches do it purely because they love the game of baseball. They love it. They eat it, they sleep it, they played it, and they want to pass a baton. Some are better than others, but for the vast majority of people that coach at the high school, college level, they do it purely because it's in their blood. And at some point, we have gotten lost in this world of, if you've ever wondered, and here's the other part of this equation. When I say travel ball, I'm using it as a title. I'm not trying to pick off a specific team, program, coach. There's lots of really good programs. I'm talking about as an industry, we have become so focused on transactions and the return on investment. What we don't really take enough time is the accountability of the athlete. Because at 6 through, say, 13, that's the window of here's the game of baseball. Do you like it? Do you love it? Here's how it should be played. Here's the rules. And the funnel is really, really wide. And there's millions of boys and girls at those ages that play. And then all of a sudden, you get older, and here's this thing, this word called tryouts. And suddenly, if somebody's not good enough, there's somebody to blame. And the only person, here's the number one thing. My old man never played a sport in his life. He was a truck driver, canine officer. He could not tell you the difference between a breaking ball, a fastball, a slide. He had no clue. And when I got cut in junior high, he basically said, the piece of glass in the bathroom, that's go bitch to that guy. And I got frustrated. I'm like, what? He didn't even give me a chance. Hey, go tell it to the guy in the mirror. Today, today there'd have to be somebody going into the athletic director's office, a meeting with the coach, a meeting with, the board of the school committee. The number one thing is, as you begin to play at the middle school, high school levels, the older levels, earned, competing, tryouts, cuts. And that's what makes Legion baseball, in my opinion, high school baseball, in my opinion. It's a headache for a lot, but at the end of the day, you want to work with the team that is best prepared, best skilled to represent your team, your program. And somewhere during this transactional world of youth athletics, our views have been skewed. We can buy it. We can maybe give a little extra over here. And the number one point of frustration is when I'm talking with parents, I get people that hang up on me. Great, I get it. You didn't agree with what I said. But if your student athlete needs to be here and they're here, and you want me to tell me that this is attainable, not on my watch, not going to happen. And I don't care how other people run or operate, but not on my watch. And the other part of this equation that has gotten tremendously cloudy is the academic portion of this whole thing. The transition from high school into the real world, that's what college is supposed to be all about. Allowing high school athletes to leave the comforts of home and mom and dad and meals prepared, and then they go on their own. And if they don't do the work, they don't get the good grades. If they don't do the work, they don't get the degree. If they don't get the laundry done, they don't have clean clothes. My point is, there's a growing up, a transitional period that happens. And it starts in high school, and the coaches and the teachers and the faculty, they're basically trying to prepare students, if they're so inclined, to go to college or vocational school. That buffer, that 2 to say 6 year time period of leaving childhood and entering adulthood. It's been that way for well over centuries. But somehow in the last 20 to 30 years, we have recruiting services that don't do jack poop. We have travel organizations that want to tell you in 2025 that athletes that played for them in 2008 through 2018 somehow bear a resemblance to today's student athletes, and they have zero. Those days are long gone, and they're never coming back. but we still want to live on we have 452 college Division I players and 29 division first round draft picks. Those athletes were tremendously talented, and they put a jersey on, in some cases for a year, in some cases for not even a game. But you are being sold, and your student athletes become marketing material when you sign that name, image, and likeness waiver for perfect game. Travel athletics, travel baseball. 4 events in high school matter. 4 for college recruiting. 4. And I'm talking about for the majority of college, not every college, but 4. And they are the PBR Futures, the Area Code Games, the East Coast Pro, and World Wood Bat in Jupiter, Florida in October. Those are the 4 events. If you think you're a Division I athlete and you haven't been asked to participate in one of those events at some point in your high school career, it's going to be very, very challenging to be A, drafted, or B, playing at a high level of college baseball. Transactional versus transitional. And I think the more parents begin to understand this, the more that we can begin to see some progress. Okay. Baseball 12, hello. Hey, Coach Chris, how are you, Chris? Do I think kids under 15 should play in the fall? I will tell you, I live in New England. If your son or daughter is not playing soccer or football, in some cases lacrosse or golf, I think fall baseball, the weather is conducive. I think it's great to get some reps. But I also think if you're a high school player, you should be really integrating strength in there. But if you're a young player and there's some instruction and there's some good opportunity and you want to play fall baseball, great. But kind of monitor, if you're a pitcher, how many innings, like spring, summer, and then, make that adjustment as you're going into the fall. Do you think it would be good to take off the focus on development? Depends on the age. Baseball 12. Thank you, Mr. Hyde. Shane, wondering what you think about clubhouse baseball versus Legion. 13U, Shane. I'm a huge, huge fan of town and Legion baseball. And I'm going to tell you why. I think Legion baseball truly exemplifies what college baseball is about. Competing, community, camaraderie. Competing, community, camaraderie. Find a Legion team anywhere in the country that doesn't have camaraderie. That is very, very similar to college baseball. There's a focus and an emphasis on trying out. Some programs eliminate the headache of tryouts and they predetermine or pre-select based on evaluations. But there's a community component to it and there's a camaraderie component to it. I believe town ball and Legion baseball during the high school ages is great because you're able to work in a strength and skill development program that allows your athlete to be prepared not only for high school, but potentially for college. So Shane, thank you for that question. We have a coach putting pressure on my son to commit to a D3 before the fall classic. Son is still trying to see if he can make a higher division. Simon, that question is purely individual. I don't know what age your son is as far as high school is concerned. I'm not a big fan of time limits. If your coach truly wants your student athlete and you want to make sure there's unity and you want to make sure it's a really a great place for your student athlete to spend 4 or 5 years. No coach wants to be sold or used as a stepping stone. In other words, if I get an offer from school B, I don't want to shop that to school A. But I can just tell you that in today's world of college baseball, with the exception of the top, say, 70 schools in the country, I think anybody, look at last year: Murray State, Wright State, Arkansas, Little Rock. Now there's so much balance. All of college baseball: Division II, Division III, Division I, NAIA, Division I, Division II, JUCO, Division I, II, and III. A lot of balance, a lot of parity. I would always tell you to err on the side of geographics and academics, and the baseball is going to be the same at every single school. 60 feet 6 inches, 90-foot base paths, typically 320 down the lines, 380 to 405 into center field. Batters boxes look the same. You want to make sure you got a good coaching staff, a good program, solid program that gives your student athlete opportunity to compete when the feet hit campus. Don't try to outkick your coverage going to a place where, you may end up in a situation where now more than ever, there will be these cuts in December 1st at some of the higher levels. You get 34 cap and 36 Division II. So you really have to make sure you're looking for all the ancillary reasons with regard to college selection. We start American Legion this summer. It's awesome. I think it's great. Thoughts? That's tough. School committee, you know it, Bill. Shane, he just turned 12 in Cooperstown. Legion, you have a lot of runway. Our high school doesn't cut kids, carry large rosters. There's no development or time with 25 kids on a varsity roster. Okay, so Russell, here's my suggestion to you here. If there's a large varsity roster, I know of a couple in Massachusetts. They have a lot of POs. I always try to tell parents, make yourself better. The better players will play, period. If you're a good player, you will play. I can't emphasize that enough. The one thing that I will tell you, every high school and college coach is always going to play the best player at each position on any given day, meaning they're bats, they may be prolific hitters. So in order to get between the lines, focus on skill. Because always understand, one of my biggest things, and I had a parent reach out to me, okay, ear, effort, attitude, routine. Winners execute, not make excuses. So those are two things I grew up. Those are two things that I really stressed to both of my sons. It's nobody's fault if you're not playing. If you're skilled and you're working hard at it, the coach will ultimately play the better players. No coach is just going to say, oh, by the way, I'm just going to mail in the varsity season this year. I'm just going to rotate all my guys and we're going to get killed every game. At the high school varsity level, I want to make sure I stress varsity high school baseball. Coaches want to win. And if they're keeping 25, sometimes that may come at the direction of the athletic director or the school department that does not want to cut athletes. Fall ball is indeed great for reps. JD, hey coach. Okay, so one of the things I really wanted to stress tonight is, because I find myself, the questions that have been coming in at me have been really geared towards, kids playing college baseball. And I've talked with parents that for whatever reason, and I understand, and I try to be very empathetic, But there are certain metrics. And when I say metrics, I'm not talking about velocity. I'm not talking about exit velocity. The first thing that has to really resonate with parents is this. For baseball players that are position players, they must have good bat to ball skills, meaning if they're swinging and missing a lot, that no matter how hard they hit a ball off of a tee, it's not going to translate at the college level. It might at the high school level. The college level, up and down college baseball, is going to be in that upper 80 to low 90 window for the most part. And if you're swinging and missing at 81 to 85, chances are you're going to do a lot of swinging missing at the college level. Next, arm strength. Now, hear me out. I'm not talking about having to throw 90 miles an hour by the time you're 14 or 15. Again, transactional, parents trying and athletes trying to chase velocity at 14 and 15, instead of allowing the transition physical maturity to take place that will enhance your arm strength and get you to that level, instead of being patient and going from 14, 15 into the 17, 18, and 19. When you're 14 through 16 and you're 5'11", 145, you have a decision to make. And that decision is, am I going to work hard on nutrition and strength training, or am I just going to play a lot of games? Because you're being transactional, thinking I'm going to pay to play all these games and get all these lessons, instead of transitional with regard to learning nutrition, learning proper sleep, learning how to lift weights properly and under the right supervision that will allow my skills to get better. These are the topics that week after week I try to convey to parents, but then when you want to sit with me if I say to you 8th, 9th, 10th, and even 11th grade, junior year, don't worry about college recruiting. You need a plan. You need a plan, like a real plan that allows you to be into that transitional time in having the foundation built along the way. When you start to chase the travel teams, the lessons, the velocity programs, and all of these things that are not relevant, and then you want to inject yourself into the processes as a parent, instead of allowing your student athlete to begin to figure this out, there's a lot of disappointment in baseball, a lot of disappointment. There's a lot of failure. We cannot script. You cannot have this, I call it the Zeppelin effect. There's no stairway to heaven in baseball. There just isn't a stairway that you just go in this door, walk up those steps, and you're going to play at Division I. And meanwhile, back at the ranch, we continue to see, in light of this going on, I really appreciate Coach Smith, but I'm going to have to reopen you're not reopening your recruiting. You were told there's probably not going to be room at the inn. And here's the other part of this whole thing that I want parents, if you're watching this, I want you to take out a pen and paper and write this down. Please, for the love of God, stop having your athletes put their phone numbers in their profiles on social media. You are just inviting all of the vultures to text your sons and your daughters. I can help you. Let me help you. Let me talk with your parent. You should never, ever, ever have your child's cell phone number, direct cell phone number, in their profiles. For the love of God, all you are doing is going to open and subject yourself to some sales pitch from somebody that knows you're basically saying, please sell me something. I want to play college baseball. You cannot put all of that information out on social media. Living in Iowa, we have no Legion baseball. We play summer, but yes, I know you play. I have a young man from Iowa that's going to Amherst. He did a post-grad year, got himself healthy, got himself stronger, and he played high school summer ball for a few years, and then he went to Cressy for the summer. And I know that Legion baseball interferes with high school ball in Iowa. Is there any truth to it if a player wants to play past high school and into college that they should have made varsity by sophomore year in high school? Shane, there's no such animal. There's no such animal. Young man Mason Coppins never played significant innings of varsity baseball ever at Jesuit in New Orleans. Never. If I had him on right now, I got him into a post-grad school. He played 4 years Division I at Northeastern University, 2 years in the Cape Cod League, and he won a Silver Slugger Award in the Cape. And he played probably a collective total of 40 innings of varsity baseball in 4 years. And he went on to play. And I have all kinds of other athletes that have done the same thing. So my point is, you can't strive to be a college player if you're not playing varsity in high school. You should be striving to be a high school varsity starter and working hard on that goal before you leapfrog high school and worry about college recruiting. I mean, for the love of goodness, priorities. Focus on where you are today and be the best version of yourself that you're capable of being today. You're welcome, Shane. Thank you, TFS. Karen Pilata, thank you very much for the blue heart. Love you. So I want people to understand, I'm not here to tear you down. I'm not here to kind of try to tear your world apart. But I talk to so many parents that are so frustrated. You know, do you want to know what your weaknesses are now so you can work on them, or do you want to pretend they don't exist? I'm not that guy. I don't play that game. And the other part of this equation is the only person that can determine the pathway to their future is your student athlete. How bad do they want it? Do they want it more than you want it for them as parents? Are you transactional or are you transitional? That's the question. If you're transitional and you have a plan and you execute your plan, you take action steps to execute your plan, things can happen. You can start at Division III. You can start at junior college. You can do a post-grad year. I posted something today and it had approximately 16 universities, some of which were Division I, some were Ivy League, some were ACC, some were SEC, some were Division III. And when I talk to parents, I will always end my discussion with, if you're looking to trade athletic ability for academic excellence, we can definitely get that accomplished. If you're looking to help your student athlete become a major league player or a Power 4 athlete, the odds of that are extremely slim. And you really have to know what that world is all about. It's very cutthroat. It's extremely hard. The talent level is elite. And you have to make certain sacrifices and understand that you are going to fall and you are going to fall hard. It is not easy. And this whole process should be about your student athlete enjoying childhood, enjoying everything that comes with high school. Don't sell out high school to chase a false narrative of go to this baseball academy, take an online course, give up the prom, give up the Saturday football games, give up all the school dances, give up the proms, give it all up, give up the state championships and everything that goes with it, and go play for some baseball academy, and you're going to end up at a Division III school or a JUCO, and you just gave away arguably some of the best years of your life. transitional or transactional. When you go the transactional route, sometimes you think you're paying for gold, but you're really just getting a gold wrapper. You think you bought a gold bullion cube, you bought a gold Kit Kat bar. The bottom line is, when I do these discussions, trust me when I tell you, I get a lot of parents that are very unhappy. But the parents that I've worked with over the last 38 years, and the parents that I've worked with over the last 2 years in particular, we were way ahead of the curve, way ahead of the curve. You talk to any parent that worked with me over the last 2 or 3 years, there were days they loved me, days they hated me, but at the end, we got to where the student athlete wanted to go, what mattered most to them, whether it was an intended major, whether it was the type of school, size, location, academic stature. They all have baseball. The number one thing that's different are the degrees and the experience. So I want to say thank you to everybody that takes the time. Now, I'm going to leave you with this. If you watched this all the way to the end, thank you very, very much. If you've watched this to the very end, put a comment in here and tell me exactly, even if you want to tell me it stunk, you're lousy, you're a fraud, I'll leave it up there. Tell me why. If you're just going to say it without some backup, I'm not going to learn anything. But tell me what you really felt. I'm not looking for accolades. I'm looking for realistic, what you think, what you thought. What do I provide to you as athletes or as parents? I am extremely honored and humbled at the interactions that you give me each and every week. I would kindly ask, please engage with the video, thumbs up. Please leave a comment. Go over to the YouTube page. Just go over to the YouTube page. Coach Beede, find me, subscribe. It's free. It helps. I've stalled out here. I've hit this brick wall, and engage. And please send me the questions. And if I see any that I didn't get to, let's see here. Karen, okay, son is a freshman QB and pitches in baseball as well. How should one juggle the volume? Rich, make sure your son enjoys and loves football. Put the baseball down. This guy right here, football player, quarterback, and Billy McGuirk will tell you, we never played baseball during football season. Don't worry about the throws. Everything he throws during football season is going to help him in baseball tremendously. So don't worry about monitoring throws during football season. Just be a football player and wait until baseball season starts, especially as a freshman. Number one thing as a freshman, he's going to grow. Teach him good habits in the weight room. Don't be a grunt football lifter. Make sure you're doing all the things necessary to be athletic with regard to your lifting. Do you have a resource to help students determine what academic program they should be interested in? This would, yes, Karen, I do. That's a discussion with families. Let's see, going into 14U. Shane, thank you. Adam, you provide excellent. Thank you so much. Coach needs, should kids that are going into 14U play fall or focus on development? Okay, so here's my thing to you. At 14, you are going to want to really begin development program. You're going to want an assessment, a movement screen. Find time. If you're a football player, soccer player, play. If you aren't one that doesn't have access to a weight room or doesn't have access to that, you can do body weight exercises, plenty of exercises. You can do remote programs with Cressy, Moffitt, Ben Fairchild. You can do those remote training programs. I am a huge, huge fan of doing strength training in the fall, the winter, out of season, but it doesn't have to consume or cannibalize your student athletes' entire week. Time management, development. Now's the time you want your student athletes at 14 to learn the power of sleep, the power of nutrition, the power of strength. That is the key to playing beyond high school. So you either want to do it now and get ahead of it, or try to play catch up when you can't serve two masters. So always remember, there's no such thing as a bad time for strength and nutrition and sleep habits and routines. Start yesterday. Let's see. It should be about becoming your best. I agree. Right. And so, Victor, absolutely correct. I want parents to understand we have this ideal that our children have to be something other than who they are. Meaning, if Jimmy at 13 is a great athlete, he might have grew faster. He might have had a physical growth spurt before everybody else. I promise you, it all evens out at 18 to 20. So here's the number one thing. We as adults should be helping our children live their best lives, having their best memories as kids, having supportive mentors all around them, helping them make great decisions, academic decisions, relationship decisions, nutrition decisions, athletic decisions, good mentors, good teachers, good friends, good families, etc. It's not about who's the best athlete. It's about who can become the best version of themselves with our help. As my dad always said, the glass in the bathroom will tell you your story. You ask the right questions, it's going to give you the right answers. You might not want those answers. Hey, I got cut because my arm wasn't strong enough. I need to really work on my arm strength, not velocity, my arm strength. Or I can't hit water if I fell out of a canoe with a paddle. Okay, I got to spend some time hitting rocks with a broomstick. I got to really spend some time on my own becoming a better ball strike guy. Not the instructor's fault, not the baseball coach's fault, my fault. I got to take accountability. If we teach our children to take accountability, to become the best version of themselves, they should be proud of their accomplishments. If they got a C plus, but they have to work really, really hard to get a C plus, that's better than a C minus or a D. Now, I want you to try to do better, but you worked hard for that C plus. You worked hard to get that 60 time down from 7.5 to 7.2. Keep it up. Keep going. Keep pushing yourself, striving to be better and become the best that you're capable of being. The only person that knows what you're capable of becoming is the guy or the girl in the glass in the bathroom or the bedroom, wherever your mirror is. I have Instagram, Coach Beede, Shane. What if he hasn't hit puberty? Here's the biggest misunderstood conception, and I promised parents that I would answer these questions until they ran out. Puberty, like lifting weights, whether it's Ben Fairchild, Eric Cressy, Tommy Moffitt, there's a whole bunch of people all over the country. I use them because I'm friendly with them and I know about them as people. I know them as human beings, and they're all great mentors. But you can do body weight exercises, things like I used to do when I was a kid, the Presidential Medal of Honor of Freedom fitness. You know, you had to do X number of push-ups and sit-ups. You can do squats out of a chair. You can do things that are body weight exercises. You can stretch. You can do hill work and do sprint work. You can play catch with softballs. You can play catch with footballs. Those things are strength. And you can do a lot of this and go online. I happen to know that all three of those people that I mentioned, Cressy Performance, Fairchild Performance, the Moffitt Method, they have programs, remote training programs, but they do movement intake evaluations. So you can begin at 10, 11, and 12. Obviously, it's a scaled down version. You should never get underweight, heavy weight, unsupervised, A or B, until your body is prepared for that. When I was in 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, junior high, as it was referred to then, we had a gym teacher. His name was Ken Noyes. And you had to be able to bench press 145 10 times before you graduated 9th grade. And back then, you used to graduate in the 9th grade. You know how hard it was when I was in the 7th grade? I couldn't even put 225 plates on each side. But eventually, you know, you get strong because you had to know, like, okay, in order for me to play baseball back then, there were certain physical requirements that you had to do. So it's up to you. Do you want to do your push-ups and then maybe put a plate on your back or a sandbag on your back and begin to learn how to do push-ups with more than body weight? You can get creative with these things. But again, you don't need to be in a race. This isn't a race. You don't need to go from lifting your body weight to 500 pounds in a month. There's transitional periods of time. Growth occurs at different periods of your children's or your student athlete's life. If your student athlete at 14 doesn't throw, here's this thing. The guy behind me over here. Okay. Did he end up throwing hard? Yes. I've told you this story a million times. When he was in high school, he threw 82 to 84. Sophomore year, 84 to 86. Junior year, he was cut by Team USA because he didn't throw hard enough. By the time he got to senior year in high school, because he had been working all of those years, he became a first-round draft pick, not because of me, not because of anybody we knew. And he didn't play travel ball until he was 16 years old, 14 to 16 years old. He played Little League, he played basketball, he played football, he played hockey. He put the work in. Not magic. Nobody has the plan. Nobody has the map. There is no map. There is no magic jersey. There is no magic travel team. Nothing your travel teams did in 2015 are going to matter with the athletes in 2025. It's a whole new world. Recruiting services can't do the things that they tell you they can do. You're being sold. You're being sold. Perfect Game uses you as parents. They use you. Your customers. You're buying all of the things that they sell. And because they're selling them to you doesn't mean because they're ranking your student athlete that you're going to end up on a college roster. Nothing you're being sold is helping your student athlete. Instead, try to find the right fit for your athlete at every age and every stage of their life. Now, think about that. Ages and stages. 8 through 12, let them be kids. Let them be kids. Let them be kids. 12 to 15, okay, there's where the door opens. Do they want it? Do they really want it? Do they want to start getting in the weight room? Do they want to start doing self reps? I have pictures of boys that when they were 11, 13, they started doing their own reps. They blew past all their peers that are playing travel ball, blew past them. And there's a lot of people in central Massachusetts that are literally pillaging parents, and they have no idea. The parents have no idea. When you get to college and you get cut, oh, I didn't know you played for that travel team. Sorry. That's the reality of the situation. Let's see. Do it naturally. Exactly. Julian, how are you? Crazy baseball world today. Are you the only one? You are one of the only. I appreciate that, and good luck this weekend at the camp. Mark, we say this all the time. Baseball is irrelevant. This is about teaching how. Exactly. Mark Niels, exactly. Go after something that is meaningful and significant for your student athlete. Cheer them on, support them, be there, but don't compete for them. You're not competing with them. You're not competing for them. They have to learn. In every aspect of life, there's winners, there's losers, there's excitement, there's disappointment, heartache. I get it. I get it. I understand. Even to this day, I have a 32-year-old son. Disappointment. It doesn't work. But it's the reality. We have to be there to support them and say, I'm really proud of the effort. I'm really proud of your workout routines and your work ethic and your attention to details. I'm here for you. You know, I'll help you in any way I can, but I can't compete for you. I can't do that. And the sooner we learn that as parents, the better. There is a fit that you may not like, but it may be the greatest thing for your student athlete. Well, you may want this for your student athlete, and your student athlete may want to go to Division One. Why? To validate who they are, to validate their skill set, to validate their ability. You know that Victor Pujols was a JUCO player? You know how many Division Two players have played in the World Series? Do you know how many Division Three players have played in the big leagues? So Division One, what's the point? You don't have to validate yourself. Wherever there's a fit, wherever there's an opportunity, wherever there is the opportunity for growth, for maturity, from childhood to adulthood, those 4 or 5 years. Division One, Division Two, Division Three, when you're 30, 35 years old, nobody's going to care. Division One, you might get a bag of chips and a beer at the local bar. But if you were a good player and you were a good Division Three player, a good JUCO player, I got a guy that was one of the best players in the world, never got drafted. Played at Miami-Dade, played at Alabama, was a Cape Cod League All-Star when Ben McDonald was pitching, when Mo Vaughn was there, John Curtis, John Valentin, Chuck Knobloch. He was better than all of them and never got to play professional baseball. Bad work ethic. It all goes full circle. So I'm always going to be here to try and tell parents my opinion. It's just my opinion. I'm wrong. When I'm wrong, I admit I'm wrong, but I like helping people. It's something that I'm passionate about. Just because my sons were successful doesn't mean I'm going to make your son successful, but you can bet your bottom dollar, and I'm going to look you right in the eye when I say this, I'm really good at what I do. And when I get parents to begin to understand, I know what's in your son's heart because he and I have had some conversations, and I get him into a school, and 5 years later when he graduates with a graduate degree, and he says, that was the best experience of my life. He never went into the transfer portal. He got a great degree. He's got a great head start. I have a young man that just got his doctorate degree at Northwestern University, doctorate in economics and finance. 2014, he was chasing something that he thought was attainable, and I showed him an alternative route. And today, his family is grateful. He is grateful. Took an alternative path, the road less traveled. It's about the fit. It's not about the athletics. Don't worry about validation. Thank you again. I appreciate everybody taking the time. PG has got me a few times, Coach. It's big out here in Arizona, and we play all year long. Perfect game under the Ford family was phenomenal. Phenomenal. It had depth. There was a purpose. And the family genuinely, Jerry Ford was one of the best people I have ever met in any aspect of life. And when the Ford family sold it to hedge fund owners, agents of major leaguers, and hey, you pay a lot of money, you pay a couple of $1 million, a lot of millions of dollars, you can do whatever you want with it. Well, now they're into the 8U rankings. They're into the 8U. Look at some of the scouting reports that are being written on 8U, 9U, 10U, 11U, subscriptions and equipment and tournaments and gate fees. All meaningless. And you know what? Perfect Game now owns NCSA, which is now selling you, hey, do you want it? When Perfect Game sends out a blast email and says, do you need help with your college process? What I mean, for the love of God, I don't get it. It's time to put them out to pasture with the Oldsmobile, whatever that car was, decades ago, like the Ford Pinto. Like it's time for them to go. It's over. PG is crazy. Yep. Okay, JD, I want to say thank you. Until next week, thank you for tuning in. Please engage with the video. Leave me a comment. Leave me a thumbs up. Please go over to YouTube and subscribe, which is free. Hit the notification button and the thumbs up. Until next week,